All right, welcome to I Found a Weird Show. I'm Laura,
I'm Beanz.
And I'm Lauren.
and we are continuing our recap of season 1 of the TV show From. So we are on our 9th episode, right before the finale. What the hell's that called again?
Penultimate episode?
Thank you. Yes, the penultimate episode. Episode 9, Into the Woods. Are you ladies ready to get into this?
Yes, so ready.
All right. So this episode starts with Boyd and Sara walking into the woods. Sara wants to know why they're going that way. Boyd says he's following his best hunch and finds the structure that he found the talismans in. They're going to stay the night there. Sara asks him to take the handcuffs off so she can go to the bathroom, and he's like, "That's why I handcuffed you in the front." So, this is the furthest he's ever gone into the forest.
Can I just also say, him being weird about the handcuffs now is just so weird to me after he already unhandcuffed her once, and it just makes no sense.
Yeah. I
Also,
know.
can we also make note to Mr. Boyd there? It don't work that way for ladies.
It's also
Yeah,
I
true.
don't know how much that's actually gonna help her.
It's probably doable, just a big
It's just
pain
harder,
in the
I
ass.
think.
Yeah.
Yeah, but definitely, I don't understand the handcuffs at this point either. You didn't handcuff her, and then, now you're being weird about the handcuffs. I mean, luckily that drops later in the episode, but it's hey, I don't know. Boyd is having a Boyd moment.
Boyd. All right. Sorry, I just had to bring
So-
that up again because it drives me nuts.
I get it. So at the diner, one of my favorite scenes, Kenny and Tian Chen are talking about what's going on in Cantonese, right?
Yeah.
I think. Yes.
Well, at least I
And-
think. I guess I
Yes.
shouldn't be saying that for certain, but yeah.
Yes,
And-
it is Cantonese, and the
Okay.
only reason why I know is because of the subtitles.
I was
Nice.
I think I saw that in the subtitles, but I couldn't remember.
That's where I was getting my facts from too. So there are 3 parts of the radio project that people are working on. One large group that's building the tower, and 2 smaller groups, one working on the radio and one working on the power source, and the power source group is mostly just Jade though.
Go Jade.
Yeah, yay Jade. Tian Chen
Well,
Tian Chen asks if they've found Victor yet. Kenny says no, but if Jade mentions the symbol again, Jim might kill him.
my boy Victor's lost.
Yeah, we have not seen him for a couple episodes since he
I feel like
saved
he's
Julie.
yeah. I feel like he's just hiding out though. He's like, shit's going down. I'm just gonna stay away.
It's fair. I imagine he does that kind of often. When things get a little weird, he's like, you know what? I'm gonna go hide.
Yeah,
Probably
he's
why he's
survived
lived
long
this
enough.
long.
Yeah.
Right. I'm not going to trust these assholes around me. Oh, you guys let a monster in the place? Oh, so I'm going to go hang out with more people? No, I'm going to go be on my own, do my thing. Yeah, I think that's very fair.
Yeah, fully agree with his decision making there. If that's what's happening. Of course, he could just be actually missing.
Yeah, who knows? He could be in the mountain. He's not. He will be back. So Tian Chen says that she's glad Jade is finally working. She says he's selfish and lazy and she doesn't like him. And Kenny kind of gives her a look and he says that's the kind of thing she says about people she likes the most. And she gives him a little smile. And then she tells him to go ring the bell and be a good sheriff. It was very cute. I love that character so much.
I do too. And I was so worried when she was like, oh, I don't like him. Because I was like, oh, I loved their relationship. So when Kenny was like, that's what you say about the people you like the most, I was like, oh, thank God we didn't misread that.
Yeah. But she's such the mom, right? Because she's like, look,
Yeah.
I like you, but you also annoy the shit out of me, kid.
Right.
So Kenny leaves the diner and Christy meets him. She brings back the book and they have a little flirt. And a lot of people are staying at the sheriff's station because, again, Colony House is still not habitable. And so
Does the sheriff station actually has, like, a cell in it though, doesn't it?
It's got multiple cells, so there are
So,
multiple
like,
cells.
"Dibsies, that's my room. Let's see you get in here, you stupid fucks."
Well, but we do see yeah, no sh we do see a lot of people sleeping on the floor in there still. Like, those poor colony house folk are just like, "You know what? Half your life you spend sleeping on floors."
Nah, they're used to it, it's okay.
That's true. That's true.
They ain't got enough beds up there. Well, they might now.
That's what I keep saying. There's plenty of space at Colony House. Let's just board up those windows.
We're like, "Well, 14 people down? Yeah, fine." Uh,
Yeah.
Donna stops a young man who's, coming in, to check on him because he looks down. She's like, "Why the long face?" And he's like, "Genetics." And then she tells him, to make sure to get a good night's sleep. And, the old guy, who is Beans's bestie, um, Pocket Universe man,
That's
uh,
right.
comes up and complaining about sleeping in a jail cell, then how the antenna is gonna be a bust too. Donna's like, "Cut the shit!" And
So
she's like,
negative.
"Yeah, yeah, he's very
I
like,
don't know
it's
why he would be so negative. Things have been great.
right." When he's been there before the talismans too. Like, he's
Yeah.
been there a while because he was there when Boyd came with his family, so
Mhm.
but some of the folks Donna tells him some of the folks in there need something to feel good about, which, like, fair.
Mhm.
Back at the Matthews house, Tabitha is still working on that hole. She's digging fucking real deep. Uh, Jim calls her up for dinner. When she starts walking up the stairs, they change from basement stairs to spiral stone stairs. It cuts between scenes of Tabitha outside and then on the stairs. She's like hearing this loud honk like a boat horn. She sees some of Ethan's toys on the stairs and yells to him that she told him to pick up his toys. She picks them up but knocks over a bottle that starts rolling down and she yells down to somebody and asks, "Hey, can somebody grab that, please?" And then a phone starts to ring and a baby starts to cry and she calls for Jim and tells him to grab the kids because something is wrong. And then she starts yelling for Jim and she's still walking up the stairs and she looks up and she sees him like hanging upside down. And then his mouth opens. I do want to point out one thing for the people who have seen the show before. There are numbers on the side of the stairs, which I did not catch until my third watching of this, but which you guys will find interesting later. Um, but as soon as like she gets up to Jim, she's freaking out a little bit, and then he opens his mouth and like a loud car horn like blares. And we cut to a scene of her in the RV with Jim when the accident happened. So it's kind of like back to when they were honking at Toby and Jade's car, and then she wakes up. So it was a nightmare, but like a very vivid one, and a very from nightmare. You know, like there's a lot of stuff going on here that like is like what? So the place might be speaking to her is a possibility.
Yeah. Could be.
So at that point, we are que sera sera, which like that was a crazy opening.
Mhm.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
a lot
I love a good
happened
dream
there.
sequence.
Yeah, it was really interesting because it was like, I mean, because she didn't really register that like this is wrong until quite a ways into it.
Mhm.
But like, yeah, I don't. It was yeah, it was interesting, and I'm sure we will learn more about those things because that is the thing. I know, like at one point, I think Lauren, you had looked up one, or were trying to look up one of the books from that Ethan had,
Right. Oh, big
and
mistake.
then it
Don't
was
do
like
that.
yeah, and it was like, "Oh, spoilers from that's how this book leads to this thing in season 3." And you
Well,
immediately closed it.
because I was looking it up because I was like, "Oh, these books sound interesting. Like maybe I could get some for my nephew." And then I was like, "Oh, these aren't real books." And Reddit tells me that something happens in season 3 with it, and I'm just gonna close that now. That was a mistake.
But that's the interesting thing. They've always had kind of some stuff like in season 1 that was foreshadowing to later
Mhm.
stuff, which
Right.
is kind of fun. Like the numbers on the stairs and stuff that I was freaking out about when we were watching it. But you guys are like, "Cool, I don't know why we care about these."
Figure it out later. It's
Yeah.
fine.
So that is always kind of the neat thing of, like, when you see something, you know it's gonna be something later.
Mhm. Yeah.
So, back in town, Donna wakes up to a woman screaming and crying. The young man, Eric, who Donna had talked to the night before, had hung himself overnight. And everybody's a little, down about that, which, I mean, fair.
Right.
Um, that's a rough go, but, like, also, I mean, I get it. Like, it's a
Yeah.
tough place to live in.
I mean, I zombie apocalypse plan. He just waited a bit longer.
Yeah, he gave it a go for a while.
Yeah.
Can't fault him, I guess.
No, I
No,
absolutely cannot fault him.
no, I mean, that's, to each their own, and especially in Demon Land, you know?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So back at Colony House, Jim and several others are working on the tower. Donna comes up and says she's had a rough morning. Kenny asks if Eric is with her because he's going to send him on a supply run. Eric is the guy who we just found a few minutes ago. So no, Eric will not be showing up. But like, yeah, no, Donna, you can tell that this Donna
This has
is not in a good
rattled
headspace.
her. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. It's like, yeah, this seems like the straw that broke the camel's back, if you will,
Right.
for Donna's mental health. Which fair. I'm gonna be crashing out daily. Uh but so at Colony House, Ellis comes in and sits with Fatima. They're working on the wires for the radio. Ellis asks if she's heard about Eric. No one saw it coming. And they have a moment about that. And then Fatima says the radio might work, but she thinks the idea that it might work is scarier than the idea that it won't work. She keeps thinking, how do we go back now after everything we've been through? How do we actually go home at this point?
Which
You know,
is
they
a fair thing to be worried about, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah. I agree with
absolutely.
that.
You've seen some shit. You've been through some shit, and nobody's going
Mhm.
to be able to understand that. And
No.
people are going to think you're crazy when you tell them about
I
it.
was just gonna say, imagine trying to get like a therapist to like take you seriously when you're like, yeah, demons came and tried to kill us every night. They'd be like,
Yeah.
oh, cycled. Okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
cycled. Got it.
Yeah. So then you're just gonna bottle that up, and, like, I would just be friends with the people who were there. I'd be like, "I guess you are the only people I can talk to about this."
Right. And that's alienating in its own because like all these people are across the country. So like, oh God.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think we talked about it on a previous episode, but I'd be an agoraphobic after that. Like
Oh,
not leaving
100%.
my house.
Not
Nope.
getting in a car. Mm-mm.
Absolutely not.
No, no way. No, no, can't make me. Um, so Ellis says, that Boyd told him when he came back from Afghanistan that coming home from war is like traveling from another planet. And when you come back, you can tell that everything is different, but you can't tell if it's like the place or if it's who is the one who has changed. So and I can see that analogy. Like
Mhm.
I imagine that is very similar. Or would be very similar if you were in Demon Land. So Fatima also questions, what it would be like for them. This is the only place that they have never like that they have ever known together. So she's like, How do we continue? Like we are here." I think she's very much like we work here, but do we work not here, you know?
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
that's
Also a valid concern.
yeah, yeah. Because there's a lot more. I mean, there's a lot of stress here, but there's like the lot in the real world too. So it's like, how
And
do
it's very
you?
different. Well, I would hope it's very
Yeah,
different stress for all these people, but yeah.
no. So I agree. I think Fatima is looking at the big picture, going, we'll see. I haven't thought about these things because they haven't been an option to think about before, but now that this could be a way home, we got to start thinking bigger picture.
Mhm.
And she walks away for a bit. She go collect herself. Um So back to the woods. Boyd is marking trees so that they can find their way back when they need to. Uh, Sarah asks him how he knows it's not like the road that will just take them in a loop. And Boyd asks Sarah about the voices. He says, "Did she ever think they might be lying?" She doesn't want to talk about it, and Boyd
Of course
says,
not.
"Yeah." And Boyd says, "Well, if we're going to start double or second guessing each other's decisions, it's a fair question to ask." Like, stop asking me shit that you don't, that I don't want to talk about. You don't want to talk about stuff." Uh, which, yeah, fair. But like, also, I mean, even if the forest is a loop, that's fine. Just you need to figure that out.
Right.
And that's kind of what he says. If it is a loop, we end up back in town. Okay. It is what it is, but then we
It's a
know.
shortcut. You don't have to walk all the way
Right.
back.
That's what I
Win-win.
said when she asked.
So he asks her what they told her to make it okay to kill Ethan. She says that they told her that those people were coming, like the 2 cars were gonna be there, and that if she didn't do what the voices said, her brother would die, and everyone would die. And, again, because Sarah is way more focused on her brother, which, I mean, fair, but look what happened. So Sarah asks him why he didn't put her in the box, and Boy's like, "I don't know."
We'll revisit that when we get back to the box.
Yes. And then Sarah starts crying, and Boyd feels bad, and he unlocks her handcuffs. He's real loose with those handcuffs. Why even
Just
have the
pick
handcuffs?
pick something and stick with your damn decision, sir.
Yeah, no. I'm glad to see the handcuffs gone so that we don't have to deal with that anymore.
Until he
But Boyd,
decides to put him back on.
right. But Boyd says he has seen this town make good people do bad things. I think he's talking about his wife there. So he's, like, well, you know what? You're not necessarily a bad person, but you got kind of caught up in a bad thing. So,
I love that he gets to decide all this stuff.
Mhm.
well, I mean, at this point, like, realistically, the only, like, she's only a danger to him because they're well out. So she's got a few
For
days to
now,
get back.
yeah.
Yeah. But nobody would know. Nobody would know that the crazy is coming back.
Right.
Um, so they start walking again after that, and then we go back to the Matthews house. Ethan, Tabitha, and Julie are looking at Victor's drawings. Ethan thinks it's a story because Julie's like, it's a puzzle, and he's like, no, 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 it's a story, and they have to figure it out to finish the quest. And I do wanna point out that there is a picture of a giant spider and the Lake of Tears drawing, and that's what Ethan said when he came to in the RV.
Mhm.
Yeah, that he
So,
saw the Lake of Tears.
yeah, well, he saw the giant spider coming down in the Lake of Tears. So,
Interesting.
yeah, which is it's weird because it's another weird thing, like, I feel like how the monsters are kind of connected in a bit of a hive mind type of thing. I think that the people in the town might also be a little that way, that they can that they're getting, information from the place in different ways. So like Ethan probably got information from the place in when he had that vision, and like Tabitha is getting information from her dream, stuff like that,
Yeah,
where
yeah,
it's
yeah.
not always the voices, but something's talking to them, which creepy. Um, so as they're going through the pictures, there's lots of dead bodies, and Tabitha's like, you know what, let's not look at these, but but he's like, "It's important." And then there's, like, that one really, like, dismembered body. She's like, "Enough. This is enough."
No more.
And she says they should play a game. And she says, "The game is when I go home, and they say whatever they're looking forward to the most when they get home." And Tabitha goes first and says she wants to go to a specific restaurant. I didn't write down the name, but and she's gonna order 2 of everything on the menu, which, like, fair. I'm gonna have
Mhm.
lots of
Uh-huh.
carbs when I
Yeah,
go
they've
home.
they've had a very restricted diet. Not that it's like super strict, that they have random access to a bunch of different things, but it's like they're not eating sushi or
Right.
anything too special.
Not going to a fancy Italian restaurant, which is what that one place sounded like.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
just saying it sounded Italian.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm gonna get me some
Yes.
carbs. That was her answer. And then Julie goes and she says that she's gonna call her friends because she misses them. Ethan goes and says he wants them to be happy like they are here. They never play games around the table at home. Which I'm like, oh. And I think that one hit Tabitha a little hard too, of like, oh yeah. But like
A
also,
as a
I'm
parent, that's a really impactful statement from such a small little body.
mm, but also, I mean, like, I think it was one of you guys, it was probably Beans, who said, it's back home, they've got jobs and they've got work and they've got like all these other things that are pulling at their attention, but here they only can focus on their family. So,
Mhm.
like, yeah, it's one of those. Yeah, it was tough.
Well,
And
and
I don't even have
I
kids.
I don't even think Tabitha had thought about it like that until he said that, because she seemed more just like, oh, like a revelation about it, more than like upset or anything. It was just like, oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
huh.
Yeah. She wasn't like, "Oh, you do it." I didn't get the vibe of her beating herself up like, "I'm a bad mom." But like,
No.
"Oh, this is something that he wants." And it was almost like it was, like, clicking into place. She's like, "I'm gonna make that happen for you, little man, once we get out of here," you
Well,
know?
and
It was
also
almost kinda like that.
I think like it's interesting to see their time in Demon Land from the perspective of an adult who's just like, okay, we got to figure out how to get out of here, compared to a kid who's just like, oh, I'm spending so much time with my family. Like, this is
Mhm.
fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah.
So back at Colony House, Jim and Jade are looking at the power source situation. They have all the batteries, but most of them are shot. They may have a few hours, and putting them in the cars to recharge them runs them out of fuel. They either way, it's finite resources. And they need days or weeks, not hours. Jim tells him to calm down because Jim loves telling people to calm down.
That's his favorite thing.
He's the
Calm
only
down.
one allowed to crash out. Okay.
Yes.
And Jade asks if anyone has seen Victor.
God, obsessed.
Yeah, and that Jim should really look at the symbol. And Jim is like, "What is wrong with you?" They have a chance to go home. Jade should just go find Victor if he's so goddamn obsessed with him. And Jim will stay here and figure this out himself.
Jim sounds a little jealous in this moment. Like, why are you so obsessed with Victor? I'm right
Right.
here.
I'm your bestie.
And it's kinda no fault to Jade either, like, he's trying to, like, maintain the straight and narrow here with the scientific approach, like, obviously, we can solve this with science and technology, but, like, also something very fucking mystical is happening, and
Right.
that little nutcase knows what's going on, and I need to talk to him.
Well, and that's yeah, and that's fair because and I get why Jade is so obsessed with this symbol. It has been there from the beginning for him. It is keeps
Yes.
showing up for him. And like
Right.
these weird visions.
I
I
keep forgetting about
get it.
his hallucinations, but yeah, it's very personal for him.
Yeah. Yeah. So like and then his next clue in that kind of angle of it is like I have to find Victor because Victor was around when the other guy wrote all the crazy symbols. So that guy must have known something and Victor knew that guy. So I got to talk to Victor. Like I get it. But but also like I do get Jim being like we got a thing to focus on here.
Right. No, I totally yes, Jim loves to tell people to calm down, but he's got a valid point when he was like, "What the fuck? Why? We're working on this thing, right? Focus on this, then worry about the other thing."
Yes. So Jade is very much like there's nothing to figure out. There's no power source. We aren't on Gilligan's Island building a radio with coconuts and palm leaves.
Mhm.
And Jim tells Jade maybe he isn't as smart as he thinks he is. Maybe you're not as smart as you think you are. Which like neither
You
are
can't
you,
figure it out
Jim.
either, buddy.
Yes, neither are you. Um so though Jade is the one who was like Do you understand how hard it is to be the smartest person in the room?
Yeah,
Sir,
he did say that out loud.
he did say that. That's an inside
That's
your
an
head thought.
that's that's an inside thought, not an outside thought.
Yeah. Yeah. No, again, I need to be friends enough with Jade to be able to give him the side eye and be like, "I need you to reel it the fuck in."
I need you to shut the fuck up.
Yeah. Like, nope. Nope, too far, buddy. Um, so Kenny meets up with Donna at Colony House, and she's been drinking a little. And he wants to make sure she's okay after finding out because he finally found out about Eric, and he wants to make sure she's okay after finding out about it. And she's she's trying to be tough, but I'm like I said, like we've said, she's on those last dredges of her mental health. Um, and Kenny lets her know that if she needs someone to talk to, he's there. And she bites back at him. She's like, "Oh, now that you're sheriff, you're going to start doling out wisdom? At least Boyd minded his own fucking business." And
Oh, him just trying
yeah,
to help.
he is. She just doesn't want anybody's help right
And
now.
in total fairness, she is very upset right now. Ain't nobody
Yes.
wants you talking like that to them when they're that upset.
Yeah. Yeah, just give her some space. But he
Mhm.
asks if she wants to go with them to gather supplies and get some wood, and she loses it a little and says if they want wood, she's got plenty. She heads to the kitchen, she grabs an axe. And Jim is there, and he and Kenny are like, "Whoa, calm down," because they again love to tell people to calm down. It never helps. Um, she's like, she looks at him, she's like, "I'm not a fucking psycho." But they said they needed wood, so let's get some. And she starts going to town on that kitchen floor.
Which,
Um,
like, that's such a nice house. Like,
yeah,
people are going to eventually live there again. Please don't gut it.
yeah, she does a little damage. It's only like two pieces of wood that get damaged, so it's fixable. But
But can we
still,
Still
just take a
upsetting to
moment to
see.
appreciate the builder's work on that floor? Think how old the MFN house is, and it
true.
still withstood an axe going, "Yeah, right, bitch.
I know
Here's a
that.
here's a couple chunks."
Yeah, it was like the floor was like, not today. It was holding pretty steady. And Jim looks at Kenny and he's like, "Are you gonna stop her?" So, they're like, "No, no, we need the place intact." And Donna wants to know for what. We're all going home, so we don't need the place anymore. Their glorious tower is gonna get them home anyways. This isn't a home anymore. It's a fucking tomb. And then she kind of stops after her little meltdown, and she looks around and everyone's looking at her, and she kind of gets frustrated. You can tell she's frustrated with herself. She's mad at herself that she had this reaction. And
Relatable.
yeah, we've all been there.
I have 100% crashed out and then just felt immense guilt over it.
So Kenny asks her to take a moment, and she tells him to fuck off, and she pushes past him out of the house. She's still like, "Look, I'm still mad. Like, yes, I had my crash out, but I'm still mad." That didn't fix things. Crash outs very rarely fix things.
Mm-mm.
They make you feel a little better at the time, though. Uh, so back to Boyd and Sarah. They are still traveling in the forest. She brings up that it was nice of Ellis to see him off. And she says she's heard about what happened with his wife and what he had to do. And Boyd's like, "I do not. Nope. We're not talking about that." And she says they don't have to, but she tells him in some ways he reminds her of her brother Nathan. And that he always puts other people's needs before his own. She doesn't think he would like what Nathan she doesn't think Nathan would like what they're doing right now. Because Nathan had a theory about this place that if they tried to leave or push too hard, then something would push back.
I, I'm kind of like, okay, not a bad theory, but also, couldn't you have said that before we started this journey?
Yeah, couldn't you have said that before we were in the middle of the woods?
And, like, further out than you've ever been before? Like, okay, thank you.
Yeah, yeah. It's like, all right, lady. You're full of bad timing. Uh, so, but they start to hear like wind chimes. and there's a tree with like a bunch of bottles hanging from it. And Boyd goes to get one of the bottles down because he like sees there's something in them. And Sarah starts to hear the voices and she drops to the ground in pain, like she does the whole, which Boyd has not seen this before, so he kind of like is trying to help her, but like doesn't really understand what's going on, and she starts screaming and having a seizure and like full on blackout stuff.
Which would be
Mm,
So
terrifying if you've never seen it.
yeah,
yeah.
no, that's Boyd had a fair reaction of like, oh god,
Mhm. Oh my god. What is how do I what who why?
Where's Christia when you need her?
yeah. So back in town, Donna is at the bar and Tom is the bartender. He asks how the magic tower is coming along. Donna doesn't answer. He says this is the first time he's seen her in there, and she tells him it's because his booze sucks. But at least here she can be alone. And you see, like, Kenny walking up to the door. It's like, well, no, you can't, ma'am.
You tried.
No.
You tried.
Yeah. So Kenny walks in and he asks Tom to give them a second, and he asks if Donna's okay. Which again, like,
Very clearly no, sir.
Like, give her a day before you start harassing her about
yeah,
if she's okay. No one likes to be asked if they're okay when they're not okay.
Like,
right.
the people pleaser in me understands where Kenny's coming from, like, "I just wanna help you, I wanna make everything better," but, like, the wildly mentally ill side of me is like, "Leave me the fuck alone."
Yes. Yes. So he starts talking about Eric, and Donna says it's not about that. And says that he should fuck off and go back to Fantasyland. And Kenny says she doesn't think she doesn't think the tower's gonna work. So Kenny's like saying, you don't think the tower's gonna work? And she asks if he does. And Kenny thinks it might, and it's worth trying. And Donna asks him what happens when it fails. And Kenny says, well, we try again. But Donna pushes back again. She's like, you don't try again because you got people's hopes up and you made them believe. You take that away now and they're lost. They give up and die. It's not a grade school softball game where everyone gets a participation medal. Yeah, and she also says Kenny doesn't know what it was like before because he wasn't here. He showed up after the talismans were there. So he doesn't have kind of what they experienced before that. And she's not grieving Eric or that. She is grieving the loss of what they almost made this place. The fact that for a little while this place felt like it could almost work. She's upset that everyone is so caught up in playing Mr. fucking Wizard that they can't see what this place is going to become when they fail. And Kenny asks her, what are they supposed to do then? Just sit here and try not to go home? Live in a place with monsters hunting them every night? Donna starts laughing. Why not? At least here the monsters have the decency to show you what they are.
Also, do they?
Yeah, because Sarah and things like that.
Well, like
But
I
even,
said,
like, the monsters themselves, like,
True.
they pretend to be human.
True.
I see where Donna's coming from, but also hope is not a bad thing. Even if it fails, like it's just yeah, disappointment is to follow failure. That's the natural reaction in the ebb and flow of everything. But just sitting there and farming up some cute little tomato plants and kumbaya smoking weed and fucking every night isn't getting anybody home. It's not helping anybody. You want to stay there, that's fine, sweetheart. You can stay. But like, don't hold back anybody who does want to leave. Like, I see where she's coming from.
Yeah, I do too. And I think it's more about like but she's been there, I mean, almost 4 years at this point. So I think that she's like, okay, we're here. Let's make the best of it. I think that's where her head's at.
Yeah,
Do you
and like I
think
said, I get where she's coming from, but like she's been here for almost 4 years and clearly what they've done's not working.
Yeah.
do you think part of it for her specifically is that she doesn't have anything to go home to? Like, her sister's dead.
I think it could
Sh
be.
Yeah.
Like, she is somebody here.
True. That's very true. And that's yeah, that's kind of what she, kind of continues on to is, talking about what they had, which like I think other than her sister from what we're kind of gathering, like that was kind of the biggest other person in her life. Yeah, having the community here. That's a good point. So she goes on to say that she knows the guys from town look at the colony house and figure it's all drinking and fucking, but it was more than that. It was special. All those people from all those different places and lives coming together for all the fear and monsters in the forest bullshit. There was something. There was joy in that house for a little while at least. But like most things, they didn't appreciate it nearly as much as they should have, and now it's gone.
You know what? It was more than drinking and fucking. It was also weed.
I do get like again, I would not want to live in Colony House. I would go hang out with them in the daytime, but I'm not staying the night with you because you got
Mhm.
too many security issues. But
Kevin.
yeah, yes.
Damn it, Kevin.
but uh, but yeah, I can kind of see what she's why
Yeah.
she's sad.
Well, and again, she's been there so long, she probably felt so much responsibility for these people and really enjoyed watching it work while it did.
Yeah. Yeah, because while she was somebody and I'm sure that, like, fills you in a bit of a way, like, emotionally and things like that, it also puts a lot of responsibility on your shoulders.
But yeah.
So, Kenny says he's sorry, and Donna says, "Me too," and then Donna tells him she's gonna put her game face back on tomorrow, and they'll give the tower a shot, but he has to be prepared for the fallout if it doesn't work. And if it does work, she thinks he'll find there's more he's gonna miss about this place than he thought. Which I think that's fair too. I mean,
Well, he's
there's
probably not gonna be a sheriff when he gets out of there, or deputy or whatever he really I don't even know what his
yeah.
title is, but yeah.
No, and that's the thing is like you have been through a thing and you're like Fatima was talking about and you're going back to something else and things are going to be crazy for a long time. You're not going to like be normal after this.
And no, you can't
Imagine
just
going
forget.
Yeah.
imagine going from, like, Demon Land, right? Just kinda quiet, yeah, yeah, crazy monsters out at night. Imagine going from, like, Demon Land and say you lived in New York City beforehand. Imagine
God.
just the sheer overwhelm that would give
Ooh.
you.
I'd be like, "Sorry, I have to move out to the countryside now."
Sensory
Sorry,
overload, yeah.
I have to go find a fallen tree.
Yeah. Um, so back at the house, Jim is there and he's trying to figure out the power. Clearly not going well because Jim isn't as smart as he thought he was either. Um, and Ellis comes in to talk to him, and Ellis tells him that they got all the coils for the CB and they have enough wire stripped for the cord. And Jim says, "That's great." And Ellis says, "Is it?" And Jim says, "There are setbacks, but they'll figure it out." And they have what they need for the radio and the tower is almost finished. He's just gonna have to figure out the power. Alice is like, okay, buddy.
Yep, you do that.
So Kenny is in town ringing the bell for nighttime, and he spots Christy sitting on the post office slash sheriff building steps. And he asks her like, "Hey, are you okay?" And she's like, "Eric was a friend. He was at the clinic a lot because he had celiac disease. He was one of the people who made it easier for her when she first got there." And like you can tell, like it's hitting her hard that
Mhm.
he, killed himself. And she tells Kenny that she's like, "I know this tower is a big deal and that you feel like you're responsible for it. And with all the other things that have been happening to you lately, I want you to promise me that if he falls apart, to come and talk to her and let her help." Which I think, yeah, because it's so much Kenny has been through a lot.
It really has.
Yeah, and so I get that where she's like, "Look, I couldn't help this friend, but, like, let me help you," is kind of where she's at. And Kenny promises her, and then they hug, and it's cute and sweet, and That I like their support for each other even if it wasn't like a little flirty sometimes. Like
Right.
they're good friends. So back at Kenny and Jade and Tian Chen's house, Jade and Tian Chen are setting up dinner at the house and Jade is ranting. He's frustrated.
What?
Yeah,
Jade? No
go
way.
figure. Not Jade complaining about things.
No, he's level-headed.
So he's frustrated because he feels like he has to he has to figure everything out. That everyone is always looking to him for the solution to be able to fix an unfixable problem.
I
And
mean, literally no one, but okay.
it's probably true from the time before because like he built like this software company from nothing, right? So I'm
Mhm.
sure he has had this kind of weight on his shoulders before. So I mean he might be projecting a little, but I do think that this might be rooted in like his time before here.
Mhm.
And then he said he calls Jim Mr. Teacup. And he's like, Mr. Teacup sauntering in here on his big white horse with his blue eyes and his, oh, don't smoke weed, you degenerate. And he says, if Jim thinks he can fix it, then he can go ahead. Tian Chen has had enough. You can see throughout this complaining that, like, her eyes, she's like rolling her eyes at him. And
If her
she's like,
eyes could roll any harder, they'd roll right out of her dome.
yes. She, she has had she has had it officially. And she's like, all you do is complain. Stop complain.
Complain, 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 stop complain.
Yeah. Uh, I love her. She's one of my
Me
favorites as
too.
well.
I
And she
think she
goes,
is my favorite, other than
yeah,
maybe Victor.
that's a fair assessment. She's amazing.
I
Uh,
would be surprised if anyone didn't like her because she's just such a good character.
yes. Yes. So then she's like, you need electricity? And she goes to the outlet and she switches the light like on and off like a couple times. And
Here you go.
yeah, she's like, you got electricity. What? What? So Jade says the problem is you can't just plug anything in, but you can see like this was a light bulb moment for him, pun
Mhm.
intended. Like he very much you can see the wheels turning and that he's processing what she says and he's got an idea on how to make it work. But yeah, he just needed to be yelled at. That's the thing, man. He just needs her around constantly to yell at him and like smack him with
Mhm.
whisks and stuff. Oh, bless her. So,
Same, Jade, same.
right?
Right.
We all could use a Tien Chen.
I want
Mhm.
Um,
one.
so Jim comes home and the rest of the family is in the basement. Julie's coming up carrying like a bucket of dirt and she asks, how's the tower going? He's like, good. And she goes, you're an awful liar.
Mhm.
And then Julie says, it's gonna work out. And she tells him something that Ethan said. What if they were supposed to come here? Back home they never talked anymore. Now they're together again. And it's like
All
Fatima,
digging a big hole.
right, working on these digging holes, building towers. Um, and she said it's like Fatima said to her on the first night here. If you climb up high enough, even a nightmare can look like a dream. And she tells him, "Why don't you forget about your tower for a while and come help dig our hole?" So back in the woods, it's nighttime, and Boyd and Sarah are in a tent or in their tent with the talisman hanging up. And Sarah has like been out for hours. Like that seizure took her out and she's been unconscious. So she finally comes to and Boyd is talking to her and he tells her that he finally got one of the bottles down. It had a piece of paper inside. It says 1864. And it seems like all of the bottles have similar pieces of paper in them. Again says, I think we should go back. She's not a fan of this trip. She says, though the voice she heard this time was different. It was a woman and she was screaming. She says she was wrong and they shouldn't have come. There are things out here that are worse than the monsters. And she's like, "It doesn't make sense." But she finally tells him that the voices told her to tell Mr. Fish and Loaves that I was wrong. So, like, we know that Boyd is Mr. Fish and Loaves. And we're like, is this Abby?
Right.
Is the voice that's screaming at Sarah now?
It's like the only explanation.
Yeah.
It's
But
it's
then,
gotta be because she said specifically that it was a woman.
so, and like and who knows about the fish and loaves thing? I mean, but it's also this place plays some weird tricks, but also it says a lot about, like, so are the voices the people who were here before who died and they are trapped here? Like,
Right.
there's a lot of questions around this.
Well, I've had that question, like, are the demons the people who have died there before? Like, are they just yeah.
Yeah, so it's there's a lot to be dug into there that we are not sure about.
Mhm.
So that they can't explore that any further because they hear a loud noise outside and it's getting closer to the tent. And then all of a sudden something like hits the side of the tent. And then it stops for a second and then they start getting dragged. Like that tent is getting pulled at Mach speed through the forest, which like is scary as shit, right? Like that would be awful. This is why don't go in a tent in the
Not in
woods.
Demon Land?
Yeah, no, that's all. Like, yeah, the talisman works on the monsters, but like, there's other things worse than the monsters out here.
And a tent is so flimsy, like, even if they can't open it, they can roll you.
Yeah,
Clearly, something
no,
can.
nope, no way in hell. No, you can't get me camping in real life. Not let alone in Demon Land. Not getting in a goddamn tent. But back at the Matthews house, the family is digging their hole, and Ethan is telling Jim about the images. He says there are pictures of scarecrows and boogeymen and giant spiders. Definitely a quest. This is absolutely a quest, Dad.
Mm.
And which he has
I
been
just
on that.
love him.
Me too. He has been on that tick forever. He's like, we're on a quest. I'm like, I love that. Um, and then all of a sudden, Tabitha hits something solid. Like she hits like metal or something, I think, but she's hit the bottom. So we go back to Boyd and Sarah in the tent, and it has finally stopped moving. The talisman has fallen down, but they do get it back up very quickly. So luckily they got that. And whatever was pulling their tent is gone, or has stopped pulling at least. And Sarah says they shouldn't have come here. Yeah, no, ma'am. Broken record. We've heard.
Broken
Yeah,
record at the wrong time.
yes. Thank you for your wisdom, Sarah. Um, and Boyd tries to calm her down. He's like, "We're okay." Which, again, these people telling people that they're okay. Mm, okay, I get it. I get like that. That is no, no, thank you. We are okay without being told we are okay. Um,
Mhm.
and Sarah's like, "No, I don't think we are." And then a loud horn blows, the same one from Tabitha's dream. So, like, that loud boat horn noise, and then a bright light can be seen outside the tent, and it's, like, spinning, so, like, the light is on them, and then it, like, dims, and then it's back on them, and it dims, and then that's the end of this episode.
Lighthouse!
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
gotta be because she was going up, like, a spiral staircase, and we heard that I'm going to assume foghorn,
Yeah.
Mhm.
um, and now we've got a rotating light, all but really confirming that that's likely with that same foghorn sound, likely the location that she dreamed about. Like, oh,
Mhm.
come on, it's gotta be.
Yeah, yeah. I think they're giving us all the signs of this. But also it's crazy that they got drug all the way from Wind Chime Tree to
Yeah.
Lighthouse, however far that distance is. That seems like a long way. So that's yeah. And now they don't have the marks on the trees. Like I'm real scared for Boyd and Sarah at this point. They seem in a bad position.
Yeah.
That ain't
But we
great.
Yeah, no, so we've got the finale and a lot of things going on. So we've got the bottom of the hole in the basement. We've got Boyd and Sarah out in the forest by probably a lighthouse. And we've got Jade figuring out the power source for the antenna. So a lot of things going into the finale here. Do you guys have any theories about anything?
Theorize that they're gonna get to this lighthouse and Abby's gonna magically be there with Boyd's boat. And she's gonna be like, "We're going home. Bye."
Okay. Okay.
No,
What
that is not my real theory. I promise you I'm not crazy.
I was like, "Ooh, this is gonna be a real disappointment."
No, I have no thoughts at this point.
What do you think pulled the tent?
I
I
don't
don't
even know how to
know.
think about the answer to that. What do you mean?
Like, do you think it was actually something, like a different monster that is that, it's worse than the monsters? Or do you think it was just, like, the force of the place that did this?
I have no idea. All I know is it wasn't the monsters that we've seen so far.
Okay.
Right.
And when I
I
say
I think
no,
it
it's definitely an assumption.
I don't think the lighthouse is inherently bad. I think
No.
that whatever
Well,
dragged them there is actually helping them.
Okay.
my only concern with that is that we just heard, maybe, Abby saying, "I was wrong, don't go there." So, like, that's why I'm like, this doesn't seem like a good situation.
I mean, the voices also did tell her to kill an innocent boy.
And if she didn't, her brother would die. And what happened to her brother?
That's
Yeah.
true.
Can I ask you guys something? So, are you more of a because like Ethan has brought up a few times that this place is good. That this place, even though there are bad things happening here, that this place is has some really good things about it, like his leg healing faster, or like the fact that it's bringing his family together, or like that they're on a quest. Um, but like everybody else is like, this place is evil. Like, do you on the scale of Ethan to everybody else, where do you fall?
I don't know that I feel like I'm maybe, like, middle of the road because I don't think anything is truly, like, inherently evil or inherently good. Like, I mean, just philosophically speaking, human beings themselves aren't, so, like, I feel like it's probably reflecting something like that of just it's not 100% one or the other, and thinking that it is just gonna keep them pigeonholed into, like, I don't know, a bad place mentally.
That's fair, and I realistically, I think that more of them need to think like Ethan. I think more of them are too focused on how evil this place is, and they need to maybe look at it more like it's a quest. Like, that more like that there is some good in this place and that it needs to balance out, and that is potentially gonna be their solution. I don't know. Truthfully, like, that is just me shooting from the hip even having seen the other seasons. So,
Mhm.
but I do think that I think it's tougher as an adult to look at it the way Ethan is.
Yeah, I think so.
Because, you feel like there's a lot more responsibility on you to fix things and do things and where Ethan can kind of he's got some of those baser needs taken care of already by the adults. So he has a little more time to be a little freer.
Yeah.
But yeah, so are you ladies ready for the finale?
Yeah,
Yeah.
always ready for the finale. Been waiting a week for this. Let's go.
All right. Well, again, thank you everyone so much for listening to us ramble on about this show. And we will be back with you next week with the finale of the season 1 of From. And again, thank you so much for listening to I Found a Weird Show. See you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.